A lovely good morning to you, our viewers. I'm so excited that you could find time to join us once again on the Camnet TV breakfast show of today being the 24th of April 2023. I hope you're having a lovely good morning. Please, if you're still sleeping, please wake up. It's a Monday. You need to prepare yourself for work and just get your day going. I am your host Miriam Kaimba, and I will be running you through the program to the next 2 hours or so. Today I have some quite interesting topics for you. At 07:35 I will be looking at some of the trending issues that happened of late in the country. We did see, recently on the weekend, the president alluding and stating that, Zambians complain too much on social media. It's time, to become innovative and create something of your own than spending most of your time on social media to complain. Hey, I will need you people out there who are watching me to participate in my conversation this morning, and at 08 hours I will be joined by the Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia, where we are going to be looking at laws and guidelines governing the management of utilization of the Constituency Development Fund, which is the CDF. But right about now we go direct into our morning boost and just do a little bit of exercise as we keep our day running. very, very important to exercise in the morning. I hope you did enjoy that morning boost. They say, you know, being physical active can improve your brain health, help you manage your weight. If you want to reduce weight, you know, exercising, that's one of the best way. And just to help, you know, keep you healthy, intact and in check at all time. Very, very important that you exercise every day in the morning. If you can't manage, at least try maybe twice a week. Please, it is for your own good. Right about now, we go direct into our healthy corner and just see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakobiana Mfaya. So this week we are going to be talking about a common condition that is very prevalent in our communities, and recently we have had a lot of people committing suicide and taking their lives all because of this condition. So we'll be talking about depression, and we want to understand what is depression and what how does it come about, what really causes it, and also what are the signs and symptoms of depression. Then we'll also look at how can you help somebody who has depression, or is there treatment for depression? Can it be treated in the hospital? So we will look at all these things this week. So today we'll look at what is depression. We want to know exactly what is depression. Depression is a mental condition that is characterized as a mood disorder. So it's a mood disorder that affects the way somebody feels and the way that they respond to their environment and to other people as well. So it usually comes about by several factors. So there are several factors that can predispose someone to have depression. One of the major things is the personality of a person. So if there are people who might have low self-esteem, and they might have pessimistic approach to life, and they might have the tendency to become depressed. Then there are other people who might have depression due to having a traumatic experience in the past. It could be a sexual abuse or traumatic experience, or any other trauma that might have occurred in their lives, maybe early in their lives or in their childhood, or it could be even in their adolescence years or later in life. So a traumatic experience can cause someone to go into depression. Then there are people who might have depression because they are having a chronic illness. So chronic illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, having a stroke, having cancer can cause you to have depression as you are managing these conditions, because sometimes it might be very overwhelming for you, and you might feel like you're becoming a burden, especially if you have stroke and you're not able to do certain things for yourself. You might end up having depression. Or if you have any of these other illnesses like diabetes, hypertension, you might feel overwhelmed with the effects that it comes with in terms of taking care of yourself and having to restrict yourself from doing or eating certain things, and so you might become depressed. So people can become depressed through several factors, and so these are just some of them. The other thing is people who abuse alcohol can easily become depressed as they are abusing the alcohol. So alcohol abuse can also lead to depression. So these are some of the things that can predispose people to have depression. And so we'll talk about some of the causes tomorrow. Make sure that you watch tomorrow as well to be able to learn more about the causes of depression. So today we talked about what depression is, and we say that depression is a mental condition that is characterized as a mood disorder. So it's a mood disorder that affects the way somebody feels and the way they respond or react to their environment. And it can come about through several factors, such as having a personality that is more pessimistic, or a melancholy type of personality, or even having a traumatic experience in the past that might have led you to have depression. It may also be as a result of having a chronic illness, having alcohol abuse, or abusing alcohol. So I do hope you have learned something. Make sure you watch tomorrow, invite your friends and your family as well. And if you missed any other episodes in the past, you can always catch up on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakubena. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care and God bless.
Quite interesting topic there, depression. You know, depression is very real, and a lot of people in Africa do not take depression as serious like the way they do in other countries. Please, if you feel very low, you feel you need to talk to someone, you need to to seek guidance from someone, please ensure that you do so and don't keep things to yourself. Depression is quite real, and a lot of people have committed suicide due to depression, and this is something that we do not want to to see happening in the country. You know, a lot of suicide cases, us receiving those recordings, such, no, we don't want to see that. So every time you feel low as an individual, please ensure that you talk to someone, a family member. It can be a friend, a family member at school. You can talk to your teacher. Please ensure that you talk to someone. You move away the depression, please. And one another important thing, always ensure that you say that little prayer to God. Indeed, God will indeed help you. Right about now, we go direct into our money market and see how our kwacha is performing against other convertibles. So we have the Great British Pound. They are buying at 21 kwacha 47 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 89 ngwe. We have the United States dollar. They are buying at 17 kwacha 13 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 64 ngwe. We have the euro. They are buying at 19 kwacha and selling at 19 kwacha 38 ngwe. We have the South African rand. They are buying at 96 ngwe and selling at 97 ngwe. I am glad on the United States dollar. They're both on the buying and the selling part. We are now on 17, and this is something that a lot of people were hoping for. We are glad that we are heading in that direction. We want to see now prices of commodities going down, reducing, and a lot of people can be able to afford to purchase certain commodities. Anyway, moving forward, this is where we come now direct into zooming some of the stories that were done during yesterday. One of them is that on junkies. We have seen that a lot of our compounds in a lot of our communities, talking about Mtendere, Misisi compound, Shawama, and other surrounding places, cases of junkies have been on the rise, and the police have moved in full operation and are now arresting these people. But we did see the Muslim community calling, stating that these people need to have some spiritual guidance, and they need to be empowered with various skills so that they can be able to survive this harsh environment in society at the moment. Because you have seen a lot of people, the reason they will tell you why they're committing certain crimes is because they do not have the skills, they do not have the empowerment, and so on and so forth. But another important thing that we should not forget, what the Muslim community said, was that there's need to provide these people called junkies with spiritual guidance and empower them with skills so that they can become independent and responsible members of the community. This is what we want to see in our community. And I'm sure if a lot of various stakeholders come on board and, take up this exercise, we will be able to see, a lot of these people, a lot of young people change into better citizens. So these are the future leaders of tomorrow, we say every time. Among those junkies, we can even have a vice president, a president, but please, this is a time that, various stakeholders should come on board and help government in order to empower these people, provide them with counseling. I know it can be hard for a start, but as time goes by, people will be able to adapt to a new environment and situation and be able to change. But right about now, let's go direct into playing that story and we'll continue with our discussion.
They lose hope on leadership itself because they expect to be offered jobs, but they don't have jobs. Sometimes they dropped out of school. They didn't have school fees. So sometimes it's not because they wanted, it's because the situation forced them to do so, to drop out of school, and therefore they cannot get jobs. If they cannot get jobs, sometimes somebody may want to get solace, and where they get solace is in drinking, because after he's in stupor, then it's like he forgets his problems. But that's not forgetting problems, it's just postponing problems. Now, the junkies are with us. They are our brothers, they are our sisters. Some of them are even our fathers, and some are our sons. We cannot just, ignore them and say they are junkies anyway. We have to find a way of helping them. And that is somehow where we come in. We cannot just leave them in the gutters. We try our level best. We call them. We sort of give them spiritual guidance. We talk to them. We remind them what is expected of them by God Almighty, by the society. Because if he is reformed, he stops drinking and starts to become responsible, probably he lands a job, he's going to live or lead a honorable life, he's going to feed his family, or probably he's going to marry and live a honorable life and feed his family in a honorable way. Now, this can only happen if we talk to them. Otherwise, if we fear them, or probably pass very, very far from them, fearing that they may mug us, or they stab us or something like that, they will just do the same thing we are fearing.
Quite interesting views there. Anyway, moving forward, we have another story that we need to look at, which is the Center for Trade Policy and Development has described as a poor policy direction a move for the government to resort to importation of mealie meal from South Africa for importation to other countries such as the Democratic Republic of Congo. Anyway, let's get direct into moving that story as we now get settled, and later on after playing that story, I will be joined by my guest, Mr. Felix Piri, who is the chairman for Youth Movement for Positive Change in Zambia, and we are going to be looking at the laws and guidelines governing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund.
The issue of mealie meal has been topical for a while now, as the country witnessed a mealie meal and grain shortages due to what various players in the agriculture sector attribute to as over-exportation of the commodities. The Ministry of Agriculture and the Food Reserve Agency have been going to various parts of the country to assess the quantity of grain and engage millers on the need to ensure the availability of the country's staple food.
If we find any miller colluding with traders, either themselves directly or through traders, taking mealie meal across our borders, we are going to shut the supply of our maize, government maize, to that particular miller.
Meanwhile, a local policy think tank has observed that over-exporting is what has led to the mealie meal shortages in the country. Isaac Mwaipopo is Center for Trade Policy and Development CTPD Executive Director.
The government had over-permitted or had given two permits beyond that were required in terms of exporting the surplus. It should serve as a lesson with regards to how to manage the agriculture sector, and it remains our expectation that getting into the 2023 agriculture season, the Minister of Agriculture will ensure that farming inputs are delivered on time. But above that, we call on government to consider doing the following to improve the situation when it comes to food security in the country. Number one, they should consider activating the Zambia National Service and the Zambia Correctional Service to start supporting the growing of crops that are meant to feed into strategic reserves. Secondly, government should consider undertaking an evaluation on the performance of the hammer mills and try and see what can be done to revamp that initiative.
And Mr. Moipopo made some recommendations on how the Zambian government can sustainably export grain and maize byproducts to neighboring countries.
With regards to the export of mini meal to DRC, that one which is to be imported in the country, we think of that as a poor policy decision, and it should not be kept for a long time because it will impact negatively on our local production capacity as well as the local manufacturing in our country. We do not need to import and then export. Those are policies that would ultimately begin to hurt this country. As we move towards the new harvest for 2023, we do hope that government can change the policy direction so that we stop importing and we start prioritizing exporting the surplus that we'll get from this year. But beyond that, we start encouraging production of crops under irrigation so that we can deal with food security concerns in a more sustainable manner.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Quite interesting there. Anyway, moving forward, we now transition into our main interview this morning, where we're joined by Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia chairman, who is Mr. Felix Piru, is helping us discuss or look at the laws and guidelines governing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund. Good morning, Mr. Piru, and welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning and good morning.
We're glad to have you on set.
I'm grateful.
Just for the sake of our viewers who are watching you for the very first time, I know you're not a first-time source to Camnet TV, but guest to Camnet TV. But just for the sake of our viewers who are watching you for the first time, what is Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia all about?
Well, Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia is an organization, is a youth-driven organization that is basically centered on the youths, and our main objective is to help the young people become financially, stable. We also have an agenda of changing the mindset of the young people and bring forth innovation and positivity in them. Mm-hmm. So basically, that is who we are, and our main objective is to help government implement the policies. Mm-hmm. If such policies, especially those that are directly affects the youths, we are there to ensure that youths participate. We ensure that youths are informed and youths are educated and sensitized on the same policies.
Mm-hmm. Looking at what your organization does to help young people become stable, and we are aware that the United Party for National Development did increase the Constituency Development Fund so that young people should start forming cooperative, but of late we did see, a lot of people complaining about how difficult it is for them to, have access to these form this cooperative rather, and get these funds. But so far, as you look at the CDF itself, what is your organization? What can your organization talk about that?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that ours is to make youths be sensitized, be informed, and being helped to access these opportunities. On the CDF, I must mention that the youths have complained, not only the youths, even the public in general, they have complained about acquisition of the CDF, how long and how difficult it is just to access the funds. It hasn't been easy. I think through our provincial coordinators, because our movement is not only present, it's not a mobile organization. It's a centered, it's structured, it's a well-structured organization. Our headquarters here in Lusaka, we are along Danipole Road, just next to ERB there. And in the provinces, we have provincial coordinators representing our organization. And through that structure, we receive information that usually we want to act upon, because we want to ensure that it's not only youths in urban areas that must be helped. We also have interest. Our interest is to have all the youths in the country to be helped, and so you find that they have been complaining. They have been complaining about the accessing of CDF, and it has been one of our agendas to ensure that we educate them, we teach them, and also we show them the importance of just acquiring this. We've been advocating of creation of cooperatives. We've been advocating for youths to register companies so that they have they have access to this empowerment. They have done that. A number of cooperatives have been formed. But if you go on the ground to search and ask who has been empowered, the statistics will show you that actually from the 100% of the targeted population, you find that it's less than 5%. And if you look at policy implementation, then you can say that's a total failure. Okay, it's total failure. Why do I say so? Because the people that were meant to access this project or these funds, they haven't accessed, and the money is seated. And then we go and now we even begin to experience some economical challenges, and the reality will tell you what is pertaining on the ground. People are complaining. Why are they complaining? If there is money that is seated in the coffers, if there is money, if the CDF was enhanced, okay, from is it 8 million to about is it 28 million kwacha. Yes. So if you calculate 28 million kwacha to by 150, how much money is that? That's huge. That's a huge sum of money, and you cannot have a situation where people are complaining. So there is a problem somewhere, and this problem probably it was discovered that they needed to, the government itself, they needed to check through and amend certain things so that they ease up the formula or the steps to acquire the CDF. But the problem is that there has been a lot of problems. Okay, people have cried to say it's not easy to access the CDF. So why is it so? So we as an organization, we came to sit down. We said, what is it that we're supposed to do? Because we don't want to see youths fight. We don't want to see youths complain when there are opportunities. So what are we supposed to do? So we wrote to our different partners that we share with the same vision to start up a project of, we begin to sensitize on the importance of acquisition of the CDF. And our target is mainly the youths. We explain what is the CDF all about and the categories that the components, or rather, that have been, that are there, especially where youths have to access the CDF.
Quite interesting. Anyway, we are looking at the laws and guidelines governing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund. But anyway, we did see recently the president during over the weekend did mention something about, you know, the youths complaining a lot on social media of how things are bad and stuff like that. They spend too much time on social media. But anyway, before I let you, you know, respond or comment on that, let's just play that clip and we'll continue with our discussion.
Zambians, step up. Kudandaula too much by social media. Kukachachape in social media, ichi. Come forward, become a small investor. Become a small investor. I scan these platforms, I see 02 guys are hammering, and all they're doing is just talk. Reserve some of that time, put it in 1 hectare, 2 hectares, buy center pivot from Mr. Ashok Saro, and you will see that it will take you away from social media. Go to social media to get market data, technology information, where to buy at a lower price. That's what you need social media. Of course, greet your family members, but not 24/7 social media.
Quite interesting views there. Anyway, in case you're joining us, please make sure that you give us a call or leave us a message on Facebook, and we'll be able to respond to your message. In studio, we are joined by Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia, the chairman, Mr. Felix Pirizi, helping us discuss or look at the laws and guidelines governing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund. Now, just from playing that clip where the president was, you know, urging a lot of young people in Zambia to become small investors and stop, you know, spending most of their time on social media complaining. The other argument has been, or rather the question is the environment favorable currently? If we are seeing that young people are still finding it difficult to access the CDF funds, is it easy to become, is the environment, you know, favorable for them to become small investors and, you know, empower themselves, or rather become sustainable?
Well, I can say that maybe let me first talk about what the president said. Mdanda wala maningi kukachachabe mlipa social media.
Yes.
Probably the situation is that there is nothing to do. Okay, and one of the things that is very, very important is to hear why people are complaining, so that solutions are made, and otherwise complaints will continue for as long as there is no solution to problems that youths are facing. And maybe one of the important issue that must be looked into is that we look into opportunities that have been availed to the youths before. Is the CDF a reality? As we should ask ourselves that question. If the CDF is a reality, so can we have a policy that is clear, especially the guidelines that are very clear to access the policy is very clear, but can we have the guidelines that are very clear that will enable and encourage someone who hasn't, who has never had an interest of this to have interest to acquire the CDF? So there must be a driving force that has to be generated in terms of CDF implementation. And I feel government has done a little in terms of having this policy, you know, fully implemented. Why do I say so? We've observed that the policy is quite good. It's a package that has been given to each and every community in the constituency. But why are people complaining? It's still a question. There's still a question that people, that even us, we are still asking. But since we know what is happening, there must be easy accessibility to the CDF. And what I know, the amends, one of the things that we appreciated that were amended in the CDF was the Procurement Act. The Procurement Act was amended. This was actually something that was an hindrance to the implementation, especially in where projects are concerned. The other benefit that was added to the same was nurses have been included and teachers to benefit. Okay, now we are talking about people who are already employed, meaning there is an issue that hasn't been addressed. Okay, so let's talk about the unemployed, and the population of the unemployed. Okay, remember that every single year, the society receives graduates from various colleges, various universities, and also from secondary school, those who just write the exams, and they begin also to look for they begin to look for an opportunity to go to tertiary education. But do we know? Do we understand the problem that these people are facing? What is it that is still a problem? So I would love to echo on the solutions. People, they need solutions. And apparently one of the solutions is to access the CDF. I don't know, we are researching, trying to see where the guidelines are, the new revised document for the guidelines to access the CDF. That's what we want to go with and ensure that we study it so that we can be able to teach and sensitize the communities on how to access the CDF using the revised formulas.
Now, let me just take you back. Let's talk about those from 2021, 2022, those who have, acquired these funds, those who are formed cooperative and acquired these funds. As your organization, done some assessment to see whether they're sustainable, they are managing, they're able to empower themselves now, or is there some sort of accountability when it comes to these funds? Have we been able to see, okay, there is an improvement? We have had a lot of people, forming cooperative, but we have not had a lot of people saying, from the time that we receive these funds, this is now what we are doing.
Yes.
This is how we have progressed. As your organization does.
That's our concern. It's one of the major concerns that we have. People should not just be accessing these funds without being accountable or without being monitored. We are there to provide this assistance, especially on behalf of government, to do an independent monitoring, so that we also give an independent report on these projects that are being, on these cooperatives that accesses these funds. What we also want is to have, everyone being, everyone must be able to access, not only to a certain specific individuals, because sometimes you find to say they'll start with those who are politically inclined, and as an organization, this is where we are coming in. That can we be where policy implementation is concerned, can we be neutral? Can the MPs, the councillors, the ministers, those who are holding public offices, can they be neutral? Can they realize that they are serving the people? Can they also know that it's not about a certain individuals who are politically inclined, but it's also about someone who is a Zambian, someone who is entitled, someone whose hope is in this country, not outside this country, someone whose hope and vision is in this atmosphere of Zambia, is in this environment. Okay, so how do we do that? Our main appeal is to have each and everyone catered for, and so the monitoring itself, I think it must be looked into as a serious aspect of ensuring that it's not just about accessing, but can we also begin to monitor where these funds are being channeled to? Maybe some people have gotten, but because of being irresponsible, or because of being political, or maybe because of being familiar with the institutions or individuals, they feel this is just our benefit. They go and use money, those monies to programs that were not intended for. Mm-hmm. So our main interest is to also monitor these projects on behalf of government. Apart from that, we also want to follow up these people who have accessed, so that we see where they started from and where they are today, so that these monies are able to be seen to be working. I think this is an aspect that has to be looked into very seriously. So, of course, you asked me about how, if we as an organization, we've taken key interest. Of course, we've done that. But we've observed that the cooperatives are there. A number of them have been formed, but there are few who have been empowered. There are few who have been empowered. Maybe with the revised, steps or revised guidelines, probably we'll have more that will access these the funds, and we hope so, because it's really a problem to really predict now whether people, this problem will change or it will still be the same. And how I wish in the first steps, in the first time when they were sitting to plan on how the CDF could be acquired, they looked into the steps. They've the new amended program which have been introduced now, so that we couldn't have wasted time by giving chance not until people start complaining. Okay, so these are some of the factors that were supposed to be looked into. So people will still complain if there is nothing to be shown, if no solution is being provided for them. But our encouragement as an organization is to encourage the youths not to complain, but to take a step. You take a step to go and follow up these opportunities. If you have a challenge, I think we have our offices, like I mentioned, our contacts. We can share our contacts so that those that do not know on how to write, we help them. We've got specialized people in our organizations who are just there voluntarily to help the young people to access to write these business proposals, to also help them on how to identify a kind of a business, just like the president was saying, that become small investors. Someone can be a small investor once they are taught well on how to become an investor. But if they are not also reminded on the importance, and also they are not shown well, the guidelines well on how to become these small investors, they'll become frustrated. And I think it's one way that it's one way that the young people must also look into. They must be attentive to what is happening. They must be attentive to what government has put before them, so that the complaints will not. Because again, complaints won't help us. We must find a solution. We must find something to do. At least something that can push you from where you are standing, where you are seated, a step further. And for us, that's what we're advocating as Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia. This is why in our one of our driving force is to bring positivity, to inculcate, to instill positivity in the young people. Because once there is too much of negativity, meaning there's no hope. We need to grow this hope by instilling positivity. If something has to be done, there must be a solution. There must be a way that, and I hope but the time that we'll be launching our sensitization program, our national sensitization, CDF sensitization program, I pray and I hope that the president will be there to address these issues, because this is one of the greatest, or one of the hopes that we have to ease up or to cushion on the economic challenges that we've been facing also as a nation. But through that, probably the president needs also a platform to maybe address the youths on these matters concerning the CDF. And probably youths will have to come up with questions. Those who have tried to access and those who have tried and they've failed, and those who have applied but they've never received any response. Probably they would love to have the direct answers. And our plan as Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia is to, through our platform, we want the interaction between the youths and the government, so that there's that link that brings coherence, so that we're able to move together. It's not time to complain. It's not time to fight. It's time to bring forth solutions. It's time to come up with something that you're able to do as an individual. Don't be moved in the crowd. Don't be moved. Social media lies. You can be a champion on social media, but let's go to your private home. Let's see where your private life. What is it that you're doing? It's an embarrassment that you find people spend even time on social media, but trying to grow numbers in something that doesn't help. But reality is there. Let us go to our drawing board and see, who am I? What am I doing? Why am I complaining? Where is this opportunity? If there is that opportunity, that chance to meet up with the authorities that are implementing these policies, well and good. I think we have a challenge, comrade. We have a challenge, especially where these problems are concerned.
When you talk about social media, a lot of people would basically, it's a digital, we're in a digital era where everything is now digital, but can we say a lot of young people have been misled by social media?
Well, you heard the president was saying that you have to go there on social media and get information. You have to go there and get, you must be helped. I feel the young people, I think I must say that there is abuse of social media. There is abuse of social media. Why do I say so? There are few positivities that you find even when an individual, it's a problem. It's really a problem when someone does good, they don't actually come up and begin to post positive things about them. Few comments they would do, and some people, those who would want to bring you down always, they'll keep quiet at that particular time. Let there be an error, a small mistake, they'll rise against you and just begin to paint you bad. And this is regardless of us living in a digital era, I think we should always avoid trying to show, certain characters that does not support our visions or our nature, because trust me, always there is something. If something that is blown out of proportion, there will be all these negativities. And what we are saying is that, can we be positive, even for the problems that we are facing, for the shortages of meal, for the for the employment and for the unemployed? Can we be positive? Can we have somewhere to start from? And can we use these opportunities that we are able? And we as an organization, we want to put government to task to ensure that these programs, these policies, they're accessible, they're fully implemented, and in time there must be a time frame of implementing these policies. We cannot be taking too long talking about the CDF time and again. Time is running. So we also want to know, I think one of our agendas that our task that we have right now is to, I think the time I'll be coming back is to come and share the full guidelines that have been put in place, the new guidelines that have been put in place. Of course, we've looked at the benefits that have been added to the CDF. The nurses and also the teachers have been included to the benefit of, to become beneficiaries of the CDF. The Procurement Act has been changed. So meaning whatever hindrances, whatever problems which were there, probably they won't be there. And let's see if they won't be there. So it's one thing to amend, another thing to, and one thing to change these all things, but it's another thing to act on them, to actualize these programs to come to reality. Because people, especially the young people, they're running out of patience. And this is why you see they are complaining. Of course, as I mentioned, the nurses and the teachers, these are people who have, been employed already. Or is it a package that is, it's a good package, yes, but let's not concentrate on that, but let us look at a common youth outside there, a common youth in Shangom. How do they access this? A common youth in Vubwi? Or is it specifically for specific youths? Okay? So government must give us a proper guideline, a proper structure that will show how each and every youth will be reached in all corners of the provinces, so that we know that these constituencies, because CDF is not only in one constituency, it's in other constituencies. And on this CDF implementation, we want to appeal to politicians not to politicize this. We want to appeal to them to work as one, so that the togetherness, the 150 constituencies, because each and every MP who's present in Parliament, they are representing this CDF. They know where the money is seated. So we want also to have a proper report on how youth are accessing this CDF in all the provinces and in each and every constituency, so that we can see the statistics, so that we can know if these guidelines are helping, or it is just a way of impressing us or impressing the people. Because one of the things that has been there is to write these things, put them for them, and they put them in the cupboard, and they begin to wait to say, no, someone has to come and sign. So how is the process done? Can we can we have a time frame of how long it must take for once they acquire this, the period that must take, so that people do not complain while a process is being done?
Interesting. We are looking at the laws and guidelines governing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund, which is the CDF. And in studio, we are joined by the Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia Chairman Felix Piri, who is helping us discuss our topic in detail this morning. Now, Mr. Piri, we have seen, you know, a lot of people coming forward complaining about the high unemployment levels we have in the country, and we know quite all right that CDF was one of the measures that was put in place in order to cushion this. But have we seen an interest shown by the young people to apply for these funds?
Well, the interest is there because we are interacting with the youth almost on the daily basis. The interest is there. But they will still tell you the similar problems. They'll still tell you the problems to say, if you kudara tinayamba, you know, kale tuayamba kale tuapanga if we can't even access. You know, they'll still tell you to say there's something that is hindering for you know these programs, especially the accessing of the CDF. The problem is one, my sister. We should get back to the same. Okay. The structure on how people, because today you can have interest, but because of trying to use even the little resources that you have, they are using it for transport. They are using it to register. You know, because for you to come up with a cooperative.
Anyway, just hold your thought there. We pick this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
We can get you, sir. Who are we talking to this morning?
Yes, we are talking to the one from Kitwe.
It's good to know that Kitwe is watching us this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. P.
Good morning, sir. How are you and how is Kitwe?
Well, Kitwe is doing fine.
How are the youths doing in Kitwe?
Yeah, I know. I want to just take a word to contribute to the program. Thank you very much, Mr. P, that you have come up with that initiative of forming a youth movement. You know, with the youth, we have been sidelined the long and neglected. And sometimes we are thinking that, you know, when it comes
so much. Thank you so much. There, I think he has quite exhausted his point, though he did cut shortly. But anyway, just your comment on that. You know, he's complaining there. You can hear that they haven't even seen this CDF. They have heard of it. Do you think there was enough sensitization going on in the communities? Because a lot of people, quite all right, we know that these are the funds which are meant to empower the community, not only provide development in the community, but also empower the people living in those communities. Have we seen, you know, government putting up enough measures to ensure that there is enough sensitization that people get this information?
This is why we have come up with this initiative as an organization. We've observed that, as I mentioned in my preamble remarks, I said government has done little in terms of informing the public and getting them to have a clear picture on how the CDF, how beneficial the CDF is, especially to the communities. I want to go back to our caller from Kitwe. These are complaints that people, wherever you go, these are complaints people will tell you. Not that they're complaining now because the enhancement of CDF hasn't started now. I think it's over a year now. And I think people took it so serious and they started, you know, making follow-ups. But also where we got so much concern is about is where you have all these because one of the requirement to access the CDF is to register, you know, to form up a cooperative and register it. You have to pay money there. Also, you have to, as an individual, you can also register a company. You need to go to PACRA. You also have to have a proper, well-registered company. But why? What about a youth in Nsama? What about a youth in Kawambwa? What about a youth in Senanga? What about a youth in Kabompo? In Dudumwezi? What are we doing for such? Because if this is a program for all, there must be a solution for all. So such complaints like the one that is coming from Kitwe, it is that serious. And so this is why we want to make sure that we come through, we come forth to inform and sensitize the communities. We have written to, it's unfortunate that to some of the offices we've written to, so that we can just share a few things on how we can come up with a program we show them our program to just ensure that we go flatter to the communities. It's also there is also one problem, which is bureaucracy. There is too much bureaucracy in terms of just having a meeting with maybe a PS, with maybe the minister. You have to put it in writing. We were told to put it in writing just to have an audience with the PS at Minister of Local Government. It's there. And if we are not going to take these issues with urgency, probably the problem, the complaints won't even stop. They'll worsen. Because people right now are looking for solutions. They want to come out of where they've been for too long. So it's a problem when you see people begin to complain like that. And our main appeal, we already have our partners that we have structured the plan to start going around and just sensitize the people and to ensure that they get to know this information. They know on how to access the CDF. But we want to be clear, how long will this be taking? How long will it take for one when they apply today and then tomorrow? And I mean, how many days will it take? Is it 2 days? Is it a week? Is it 1 month? So that we also go with clear information on the ground, so that each and every person feels, okay, I'm now ready to conduct and apply.
When we talk about the funds that, youths, even the women are, benefiting from the CDF when they form these cooperatives, do you think the funds are enough? Because I remember we once did a story where a group of 40 people got 40,000. A group of 30 people even get 30,000. Are the funds enough? We have seen those complaints coming in as well.
Exactly. And I think even those that are sitting on the CDF, they know exactly to say what is happening. They know even the people who have been given, sometimes it's 50,000 kwacha. We've received such complaints. And I've heard from my ears, myself personally, I've heard that we applied, there's a certain grouping of people they applied, but then they were reduced from 300,000 kwacha to 50,000 kwacha. Yeah. If the monies are there, why not give people what they've asked for? If you have a cooperative that has maybe more than 5, 6 people or 10 people, why giving them a 30,000 kwacha? Why are you giving them a 50,000 kwacha? So can you look at what is it that is a sustainable solution to the project of that cooperative? The nature of the project the cooperative is acquiring. How much money? Do you have to be cutting down? And why cutting down? Because when you've looked into the proposal, there is a structured, business proposal. There's a budget on how that money has to be used. So why cutting the costs, or why cutting on and then give the people for the sake of giving them? So meaning we are not helping. So this is the problem again that now, which has to be avoided. Give people exactly what they've requested. If you have to guide them according to the budget that is there, knowing that there's another one who's coming to access. So we can't give you this much, or maybe can you change the project proposal, or can you change to this, but not accepting the proposal and then you cut off the monies. It's not making sense.
Can we say that is some of the reason why we have seen a lot of maybe cooperatives that have benefited from these funds not progressing?
Probably it could be one of the reasons. Maybe they had hoped to get money, more than they got. And then in the long run, they find that maybe they just get something that would just, be used at that particular time. So it's and I think it's one of the things that also the local government has to look into. How do they make sure that each and every person gets what they've asked for?
Earlier on, you did mention about, appealing to various stakeholders, the area member of parliament and those in charge of the CDF, to stop politicizing this constituency development fund. But of late, have we seen any politicization of the CDF?
Well, because what we see is that the CDF is not only seated with one political party. It's not only seated. It's not only allocated to one constituency. It's allocated to other constituencies. But the people, the same MPs who are, in charge, who knows even what the CDF is, they even know their committees. They are quiet. It worries us. Why are they quiet? Why did they participate into approving the program that they know they are not going to help move? So this is why we are saying, do not politicize it. If you know where the money is. It's just to work in coordination with the relevant authorities, the teams that are there, so that you are able to reach out to the people. Because at the end of the day, it's it's the people, the communities that are suffering. Okay? Our colleagues in parliament, they've got allowances. Our colleagues in parliament, they're on salaries. Okay? They've got privileges there. What about the members, the people who sent them to parliament? So we want to hear them speak also. What are the challenges? The challenges that have been there for the people to acquire the CDF. They cannot be allowing people to complain when they know where the money is, when they know the solution. Really, that has to be given to the people so that each and every person accesses the CDF. It's very important, and it's very, very imperative to realize the reason why you are in the office. It's very important to realize, why are you in the office? You are not in the office for you to go and sit and begin to wait for other people to do things on your behalf. You have to stand and represent your people. If there is in any way that you feel youth or women or this particular policy, especially the CDF itself, how it is affecting your people negatively, there's always a way, a channel. These people, they know how to channel these solutions, these problems. But why are they quiet? So we want to encourage the councillors, okay, and also the MPs to work in coordination with the people, with the communities, so that they bring forth this, they bring solutions to the problems. Mm-hmm. If the CDF surely is one of the mitigating factors to our economic challenges, can we concentrate on this project and see how it can help us now? Because things are not okay. Youths want solutions. For them to stop complaining, they want to see something happening.
Quite interesting. Anyway, as we come towards the end of our program this morning, what are some of your concluding remarks, and maybe how fast would you want to see these changes being made?
Well, one of the things that I still want to get back to our caller from Kitwe, he said, mm-hmm, youths have been sidelined. Why are they feeling so when they felt important in the first place? These are the youths are the decision makers. These are the people who rose in numbers to make a decision on behalf of everyone in the country in 2021. And I think the president always has been wanting to ensure that the youths are helped. Mm-hmm. But I feel the people from different angles or different stakeholders must rise to this occasion to help implement this policy, especially where youths are concerned to access these opportunities. Mm-hmm. So we, as Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia, we want to see the proper structured guidelines that have been revised, that we want to take to the people and show them this is how this is how you can access the CDF now. We also, secondly, we also want to see the time frame, how long it must take for one to get these funds once they applied, for these funds today. We want to know. And thirdly, we want to encourage the youths not only to complain, but step up. If you are truly supposed to become a small investor, can we work hand in hand to pursue this? We need to come together as a movement, as a force, as one, so that we follow up these opportunities that are before us. Probably there must be laziness. Maybe it's the laziness that is making someone not to to go and participate. And if there is need also, the local government itself, we want to make sure that we are appealing to them that they open up those public offices for different stakeholders to propose on how to work towards the CDF implementation. People have got solutions, people have got plans, people have got strategies. But sometimes maybe it's because of the way the systems are, and also the way, the attitude towards the same. I think one of the most important things, we have to change the attitude towards this. We need to change the attitude. And the attitude must be of positive. We need to be serious about this matter. Because while we are talking, others are complaining, others, people are hungry, people want something, especially the young people. So the way the caller from Quito said, youths have been sidelined, and when you go in other constituencies, it's nothing. Meaning they have taken time to study this case, how effective it has been and how discouraging it has been at the same time. And they feel, now they are saying, we feel left out, we feel sidelined. So this is where we are saying that before these sentiments begin to grow, can we come together? Can we put our hands together so that we can find solution to this? We need to go flat out and ensure that the people are well sensitized and conscientized on the same program. They have to be taught, they have to be informed, they have to be guided, they have to be encouraged, they have to be shown the way on how this can be attained. And so government must come up with a deliberate a quick move, especially if they could be able to buy the land cruisers that should be operating in all 150 constituencies as a ministry. Why can they bring forth a deliberate policy to sensitize? There must be budget allocated to the sensitization. There must be a room that must be created for this information to go and reach down to the ground, especially to those in the rural areas, especially to a youth in Mbala, a youth in Vubwe, a youth in Kaoma, a youth in Wadachiwombo, a youth in Nsama. All those have to be reached. There must be a uniform and a collective approach to this matter.
Quite interesting. Anyway, this is where we come to the end of our program this morning, and in studio we were joined by the Youth Movement for Positive Change Zambia chairman, who is Felix Piri, and he was helping us look at, or rather discuss, the laws and guidelines governing the management and utilization of the Constituency Development Fund. I was your host, Miriam Kaimba. Please do make a date with me tomorrow morning as I bring to you another interesting topic. For now, it's bye-bye. Stay blessed.